Let's take another couple breaths together. I don't change sermon topics often, except for the year of the pandemic, and I changed them a lot. Whole bunch. We got to respond to this. We've got to respond to this. George Floyd was murdered. We need to respond to that. The Capitol was stormed. We need to respond to that. Don't think I've changed topics at all this year until today. If you've been around here for a while, you know that something that's very important to me in our ministry together is transparency. We are a community that works together, talks about money together, governs ourselves together, worships together. And in the spirit of transparency, I want to tell you that we've had some stuff. You know I want to use a different word, right? We've had some stuff happening. In this Pride Month, in a national atmosphere when things are getting scarier and more threatening, we want to make sure that you know everything that is happening, what we are doing about it, and how we can respond. I'm going to pause a moment because we're going to practice some self-care for ourselves, the way that Brigitte has been showing us. Some of what I'm going to tell you is disturbing. It will land in scarier ways for folks who have LGBTQ+ identities, as well as people who have experienced harassment and trauma in the past. I will also say that this is a hard sermon for me, and yet it is also an empowering time for me. Let's take a moment to send love to each other, especially for those who it will be hard for. And if you have a little extra energy to give me, I will receive it as well. So let's talk about some incidents that have happened. Last April, right before worship, we were visited by Ethan Schmidt, an extreme right-winger and an anti-masker. Our safe congregation policy stopped him at the welcome desk. They came and got me. I got him outside. We called the police eventually, and he left before they arrived. For a very long and intense 7 minutes, he filmed his confrontation with us, where he covered the right-wing greatest hits. From masking to our Black Lives Matter sign, to our pride flag, to our theology. We do not believe he was a physical threat to us or was armed, but he did post that video, which spread to his other right-wing followers. That was the beginning of it. It happened to be the first day that we were back in the sanctuary after 2 years. I was shook. Last October, one of his followers, also a Christian white nationalist, put a drone over our campus when one of our schools was getting out, and there were kids with their parents going to their cars in the parking lot. He said all of the anti-queer tropes about us being groomers and pedophiles. As you can imagine, although he was talking about our congregation, the schools that had their children filmed were very freaked out. Then this year, in the first week of April, someone took a 1-minute edit of the original Ethan Schmidt video, focusing on him leaving down the steps and filming our banners as he was going out. They took that edit and they put it on an Instagram account with 44,000 followers, but it was obviously reposted because it had over 84,000 likes and 3,500 comments. We got emails, Facebook messages, and oddly, several 1-star Google reviews. We had a little fun responding to those. But then I got an absolutely vile voicemail from one of them, wishing harm on our banners and wishing me dead. There have been a few other minor, relatively, or related incidents as well just recently. They are minor, but they are closer together, and they seem to be amplifying. 2 weeks ago, someone came and cut down and took our Pride banner. Not any of the other ones, but our Pride banner. Last week, Ethan Schmidt took the re-edited video and put it on his page, which has fewer followers, but that same video is the awful gift that keeps on giving. And also last week, the UU congregation of Tucson was targeted by a man known to be a neo-Nazi who was oddly dressed in 1920s gangster outfit, which is funny but not relevant, but also just shows the absurdity of all of this. He is targeting the UU congregation of Tucson for supporting No More Deaths, which is our Share the Plate partner this month, and has increased scrutiny and has been ambushed by Border Patrol in the last month twice. Surely, these two things are not a coincidence. While we were not the target, pictures of our banners in our front of our congregation were in that video. Let's take a deep breath. Let's think about what Brigitte said about what safety is and isn't. Let's put this into some context. We've heard in the media that Pride Month would create an increase in harassment and beyond. We've seen it from Target to the Tempe Center Hall, which had its Pride flag burned this week. We have a member working for the city of Tempe in our congregation, and it's been very hard on them. My friends, we are not in usual times. This is not a love is love kind of Pride season this year. This is they are outlawing gender-affirming healthcare, and people are needing to flee their home states or get arrested times. This is it seems to be acceptable for people to speak homophobic things out loud, and there are no ramifications in their social circles or public square times. This is let's see how many ways we can regulate people's bodies from their reproductive rights to their gender identity times. Even more, this is the time when bodies that are being particularly attacked are those of our children who don't have a voice in the political process. 30% of our trans youth currently live in states with bans on gender-confirming care. 30%, and that's only increasing. I feel entitled to be upset with your faith, your identity, your values, etc. And it is absolutely normal for me to get on the internet, email, phone, and tell you how much I hate you time. This is the time when people can just go to a company, Target, Budweiser, Cracker Barrel. Really, who saw this coming with Cracker Barrel? But whatever. Can just go to a company and tell them that their Pride merchandise or statement makes them upset. And many of these companies who have been profiting off of gay bodies for years now are getting scared and backing down time. This is the Supreme Court has threatened, no, not even threatened, it has offered, even volunteered that it would be open to overturning gay marriage time. This is the time, and this one's going to get worse, that we have candidates that are openly running with platforms that discriminate against LGBTQ folks, are anti-gay marriage, and are vehemently anti-trans. And they have tons of followers, potentially half of the voting population. that agree with them. My beloveds, when our mission calls us to be a religious and spiritual community for our time, this is that time. June Jordan and then Alice Walker said, "We are the ones we've been waiting for." This is such a time. This isn't happening out there somewhere. It is happening right here in Arizona. In Phoenix, it is happening at our front door. It is happening here. We are the ones we've been waiting for. Now, I want to reassure you that our responses to these events have been thorough, thoughtful, and diligent. Each time one of these are happening, it is taking anywhere between 10 and 30 hours of my time. We have a wide range of resources that we have found or who have found us, pages long. While I don't want to mention everything that we are doing because this is public and it turns out the internet is a very interesting place lately, I do want to call out a few. Most notably, the greatest resource that I have found in our community is the Jewish Community Resource Center, an organization established to help keep synagogues and Jewish organizations think about safety in an age of rampant anti-Semitism. They have been compassionate, diligent, and incredibly thoughtful and helpful in getting us resources and information. I'm also on a first-name basis with several right-wing watch groups. They're out there watching these right-wing extremists online and alerting us when something problematic is posted. That's so helpful so that we don't have to live in that scummy land. Our welcomers have been amazing. They have provided calm, non-anxious presence, but they have also been focusing on balancing the line between welcoming and watching for anything suspicious. And luckily, 5 years ago, our Safe Congregations team put together a thorough, thoughtful Safe Congregations policy. We've built a network of support and information with both progressive congregations in Phoenix and UU congregations in Arizona. And finally, we have created a response team who are going to be taking over the role that I have been playing of recording the information for each incident, taking the appropriate responses, and making sure that the people who are affected are getting the care that they need. And in a turn that can only be seen as the universe conspiring to help us, Brigida Vieira has this wealth of experience that she described from her Surge internship. She'll be working on the response team and helping us as we organize our responses and think about what safety means in these incredible times. Now, the other part of transparency is to tell you, as I've mentioned a few times in the last couple months, that this has impacted me. Now, first, I want to name my privilege here. I am white, I'm cisgender. Folks may not know I'm queer without researching me, and it turns out that the right-wingers didn't even look at my bio to see. They can't even imagine it. They're having problems with me being a female minister, much less a queer female minister. But I can pass. I have financial resources for protecting my home and getting therapy. And I don't have a lot of trauma in my background, which would make this harder. And yet, even with all of this privilege, even as strong as I think I am, as strong as I want to be, and as much as I think I can just talk my way out of this, I have had what can only be called a trauma response from all of this. It was particularly from that voicemail But I think it was also the combined pressure of holding all of this together for the whole year. The founder of somatic experiencing, a type of therapy that I am doing to help me through this, names it as too much, too soon, too often. Can anyone relate? Too much, too soon, too often. Yeah, that.
We love you.
Oh, thank you. I love you too. The trauma response told my body that I was not safe doing my job. And as much as I tried to tell my mind to calm the bleep down, my body kept the score and said, nope, not safe, not going to do it, not going to let you do this. Now, it is not your job to fix this. That is mine. I am getting care for this. I have colleagues and friends surrounding me. Karen and I are locking down our personal footprints. But I want you to know that my body went into this response when this happened. And some of you may have experiences of your bodies responding to this as well. And I think this is an opportunity for us to look at how we can make everything trauma-informed. How can we assume that people are having traumatic responses to things and care and respond appropriately? My job is to get the help that I need. Part of your role is to recognize that you have a female and queer minister. Now, this congregation has had women ministers before, but I am your first gay one. And these things fall uniquely differently on me. And I understand my unique role to keep you safe. My unique role to be the figurehead in this congregation, to lead us through uncharted times again. Again. Can we have a boring year at UUCP sometime soon? Can we try it? I know my role as the figurehead. I know the vulnerability and the problems of me standing up here. I take these roles very seriously, and they can be a lot. And I want to make another connection for you. When I came to UUCP, I know a lot of you were excited to have an LGBTQ minister. And many of you cited my experience as a chaplain and a leader in my community in Orlando, Florida during the awful summer of Pulse as something that made me intriguing or notable. And I'm glad you think that. And you also need to know that that event also left a mark on me, a trauma that I will never fully reconcile. So these events hit me even closer, especially as we are in Pride Month, especially as the anniversary of the Pulse shooting comes up tomorrow. As much as I wish to tell you that I've got it all together, and I can put on a really great facade up here, the truth is that I am human and vulnerable, just like you. My job is to take care of me, but it would help greatly for you to understand how my identity and experiences impact me in this role. Okay, another deep breath. Who needs a deep breath? So I've told you what's happening. I've told you that we're not alone in experiencing this. I've told you how we're responding and our responses are solid. And I've told you how this impacts me. So now what? Well, now this is the part that is very reliant on you. I'm going to be honest. I'm getting really tired of responding to these asshats. I'm getting tired of getting calls from our watch group saying that they've done something else and we need to do the logistical things, the things that can take hours and are exhausting and important. I'm tired of being on the defense. We are the ones we've been waiting for. Now, this congregation showed up in the civil rights movement. We showed up when SB 1070 unjustly targeted our migrant siblings. We show up. That is what we do. And this is another time to show up. Yeah. This is not just in our country or our country in our county. It is on our front steps. We are the ones we've been waiting for. I want us to get creative. How can we respond in creative and empowering ways versus just reacting? How can we do things that make us feel not like victims, but like the champions of our values? We are the ones we've been waiting for. Join me in that. We are the ones we've been waiting for. I've left some sheets on your seats where you can write down your ideas and leave them at the table in the back with Susan's card, which you're going to sign because you want to sign it even if she doesn't know who you are. Fill them out, come up with ideas, be creative, be bold. We are the ones we've been waiting for. They took our pride flag, so you know what we did? Karen and I bought a 10-foot one and we hung it off of the ceiling. There's how we respond. We've got a sign on the flag that we've got that says, go ahead and take our flag. We'll just get bigger ones. And anytime anything happens, we're making a donation to 1 in 10 that helps our LGBTQ youth. We are the ones we've been waiting for. How do we show that we mean what our banners proclaim? It's not good enough that we just have them there and we keep replacing them. By the way, we have a backup in case they take that one. It's already printed. It's no problem. How do we not run away, but rather show up more boldly, more confidently, and with more commitment? Because we are the ones we've been waiting for. Do we have the courage and support to invite the drag queen storytime folks here to our congregation? It would bring protesters, and we'd need a big group to manage security. But do we want to promote the beauty of drag and the beautiful messages of inclusion and love that it brings for ourselves and our children? Because who are we waiting for? We are the ones we're waiting for. Do we reach out to the media? Do we partner with other organizations that are being affected? Do we host community resource gatherings where we share what we've learned? Because we've learned a lot. Do we turn this work into allyship for our Black Lives Matter Metro Phoenix siblings who are on all of the ways of harm that they experience? Do we show up at school board meetings where our trans kids are on the front lines? We are the ones we're waiting for. Here's what I know. We cannot do nothing. We can't just sit here. And whether we wanted this fight or not, we're in it. It showed up to us, and it's waiting here now for us to respond. We are in it. Our beloveds are in it. Our country is in it. Our faith definitely needs to be in it. Now, my people, who are the ones that we've been waiting for? Who are the ones we've been waiting for? Let us be worthy of that cause.
Ashe.